The chosen one. Are you prepared to confront your fate tonight beneath the stars? Hear the holy summons ringing deep inside your soul. Tonight marks your triumph and enlightenment. The trust you have in your heart gives you the strength to see through any darkness. Come on, leave your fears behind and start the fire of freedom tonight. Every step and every breath will be a testament to your spiritual quest. Get ready, because tonight you will encounter the holy light that ignites your soul. You'll overcome the challenges and flourish like a rising star. Now sense the astounding truth that the universe is whispering to you. And write in the comments, you are the chosen one. The tale of the night. By retiring completely, you've hit to their center in ways they didn't anticipate. They were confident that you would always be present. They were always ready to re-engage anytime they decided. Instead, the gap you left behind has expanded into a chasm. They are unable to bridge a reality. They can't navigate while desperately attempting to reclaim even the tiniest amount of your attention. You are stealthily reclaiming the upper hand. With each passing instant, the harsh reality sinks in. You were never the one who depended on them. It was they who relied on you. Your absence does not imply emptiness. It's a presence that challenges them. Their world. Your support once kept me rooted, but now I feel unmoored. They are adrift. Their sense of self is collapsing under the weight of your silence. Your presence used to provide them comfort, but that is no longer true. Not just physically, but also out of grasp. This stillness you've created is more than simply a lack of sound. It's a mirror that forces them to face all they stole from you. Everything they left behind was broken. Their imaginations are racing to fill the vacuum you left. Every second without your voice is like a hammer hitting their confidence. They'd embrace even your rage. Anything that will offer them something to hold on to. But you have decided to remain quiet. You understand that the mind cannot tolerate emptiness for long. It aspires to produce something, even if it is just shadows in the solitude. They are forced to confront their worst fear. The gap between you swells into a huge, inconceivable expanse that cools with each passing instant. They frantically search their equipment for any indication of your presence. They're left with nothing but their own thoughts, which they never intended to face. You've realized the full power of restraint by not responding at all and restraining your voice. You've unlocked a deeper strength, one that functions in the quietness. You carry this newfound power softly, as if it were a hidden weapon only you know. This was not an impulsive choice or a knee-jerk reaction. It was a thoroughly studied decision. There were no dramatic exits or passionate confrontations. You simply vanished gone. And in that fading, you discovered your power. Piece by piece, by connection, you disassembled everything they were counting on. You perfected the art of isolation, breaking links and denying access until their demise became unavoidable. You first stopped replying, then drew back even farther, shutting every conceivable avenue of connection, including phone, social media, and email, until you were inaccessible. You went from a ghost in their lives to an enigma, an unpredictability and uncontrollability. They had expected outrage. They were prepared for a struggle, but they didn't expect the peaceful departure. Your absence was not only physical, it was a disconnect on many levels. You cut the invisible links that they used to influence you, making it impossible for them to contact you emotionally or psychologically. This wasn't just about leaving. It was about a race. Your presence deviates from their reality, like a strategic withdrawal. The purpose was not devastation, but isolation. Military tactics suggest that the most successful attack is one that eliminates all lines of supply and communication, resulting in no feedback or reaction. The target falls into itself. You accomplished this wonderfully. Narcissists dread nothing more than being ignored, eliminated, or deemed unimportant. You did more than just hurt their ego when you cut them off. You removed their power over you. They might attempt to reach out, push boundaries, or send messages to common friends. However, the door stays securely closed. Not only locked, but gone completely. What you have done is not intended to cause damage. It's about not giving them any place in your life at all. Control thrives on reactions. Without it, the controller is impotent. They send messages, hoping for a response. Is there any reaction? However, you stay indifferent. The more they strive, the more their attempts fail. Their efforts to provoke you become louder, furious, and more severe. The authority they once had melts away like sand between their fingers. The quiet you have created is their undoing, an equation they are unable to solve. They try to fill the gap with manipulations, but each effort yields nothing. In the absence of your attention, your answers suffocate them. They've released their grasp on you, and now they're left with just their own desperation. You have unleashed a storm of silence, shattering their base. What they formerly saw as power over your emotions is now their biggest dread. Total loss of influence. They felt you would always be present, ever ready to respond, always responding to their signals. But you drew aside, leaving nothing but a massive vacuum that cannot be filled. No matter how hard they try, as they seek for any sort of recognition, you remain unaffected, recovering your calm with each instant of separation. The truth is seeping in. They were never in charge. You were. They grew their influence by exploiting your responses, but not with you in their circle. They're left with nothing. The void you've left behind is more than simply empty air. It's a mirror of their own behavior, the harm they did and the power they previously had over you. You've given them a mirror, and all it reveals is their own destruction. They can no longer escape the void you have created. They can't face the stillness around you, but they can't ignore it either. I am desperate to fill the stillness with anything. Anything. They look for diversions, reactions that no longer exist. Even the rage they once incited in you is now gone, and they are left floundering, grabbing at everything they can. The human mind is not designed to withstand an emptiness like this. Their thoughts are no different. They're seeking for significance and something familiar amid the solitude. But all they see is their own reflection looking back at them. They don't have somewhere to turn. There's no place to hide. Each effort to bridge the gap merely increases the abyss. And they recognize that the source of their strength is no longer there to provide them with the desired responses. Imagine a sunlight bursting through a thick nighttime mist, a dazzling promise of a fresh start, a strong indication that people destined for greater purpose are being asked to walk into the light at that precious time. You opted to retreat from the cacophony of voices that formerly wanted to bind you to their disarray, much like dew gleaming on a field before dawn. You realized, with a heart full of conviction and a spirit buoyed by heavenly confidence, that your retreat was not an act of weakness, but rather a planned climb toward inner strength and liberation. You understand that intentionally vanishing is more than just avoiding confrontation. You were asserting your value by regaining the energy that had previously been drained away by others who wanted you to constantly be accessible. If you are experiencing an excess of divine love in your heart, now is the moment to share it. You may help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and donating $200 or more. This wonderful gift will affect not just your life, but also the souls of countless others. Each of you has a holy position in God's great purpose via this platform, and your giving will provide fruit for our prayers. Act now. Share your benefits to honor His kingdom. You were meant to do much bigger things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. You didn't just leave in a fit of rage. No, you embarked on a purposeful path of action that needed guts and clarity of mind. With calm resolution, you chose to break free from every connection that had previously linked you to circumstances and people who lived on your response. You carefully cut each link, as if you were a brilliant chess player anticipating your opponent's next move. The phone calls that used to ring at strange hours, the incessant pings of social media alerts, and every digital trace of your presence. Everything was quietly wiped from your life. This was not the consequence of a hasty choice. It marked the end of a voyage of self-discovery and the growing knowledge that your genuine strength rested in the absence of superfluous noise. You disappeared at that key moment, not with a shout of rage, but with a calm dignity that left people around you in complete bewilderment. If you discovered strength in stillness, a force so subtle but profound that it changed the whole definition of connection. The barricades you erected were not literal brick walls, but a bright aura of determination that shielded your soul. These fortifications, braided with strands of knowledge and self-respect, were impenetrable to the efforts of people who had previously exploited your emotions. Every step away from their influence was a step toward a more clear and purposeful existence. A life in which your energy was no longer subject to external pressures. Your choice to withdraw was like a gently but firm cleaning wind, wiping away the residues of previous miseries. It was as if you had climbed to a higher level of life, where the trivialities of little fights no longer affected you. In this exalted condition, you accepted a reality that had long been buried in plain sight. Your quiet was not empty, but rather a booming declaration of your sovereignty. Each moment of silence was a testimonial to the beauty of inner tranquility, a subtle revolution that broke the ties of power and manipulation that had previously kept you hostage. You went away with purposeful elegance, defying the expectations of people who expected you were always available. You changed what may have been seen as desertion into an act of self-liberation. With each passing day, your absence became a strong sign of resistance, a vow that you would no longer let someone else's need for your presence determine how much work you did. The energy you regained was not just personal. It was a spiritual legacy handed down from generations of individuals who dared to live truly and without compromise. Just like an eagle, which knows when to fly above the storm. You, too, have soared above the cacophony, leaving behind the turbulence that previously sought to keep you down. You've learned that genuine knowledge comes from soaring above the wind rather than yelling against it, allowing the silence of your soul to speak louder than words ever could. Your withdrawal experience was not a getaway. It was an awakening, a holy expression of a deeper calling. You recognized that the most effective answer was to take a step back and recover the energy that was always intended to be yours, rather than engaging in exhausting skirmishes. In the silence that followed your departure, you discovered a power you never realized you had, a strength so unwavering that it required no explanation or justification. It was a calm, spiritual expression of self-worth. And while you appreciate the calm, others on the sidelines saw something they never imagined. Someone unburdened, unaffected by turmoil, walking in serenity, and exercising heavenly power. Every step you made to disengage was infused with knowledge from the centuries. With each broken bond, you regained a portion of the lost energy, converting it into a lively force that carried you onward. Your careful leaving revealed your renewed dedication to live a purposeful life. You would no longer be a pawn in those who wanted to take advantage of your emotions. You'd taken control of your own fate. Your path was defined by a succession of modest successes, each of which represented a step toward a more true, empowered living. In this beautiful quiet, you found an abundance of inner resources. You made a rich field for your soul to thrive, rather than a vacuum of emptiness. It was as if you had cleaned the debris from an overgrown garden, creating way for the vivid blossoms of hope, resilience, and unflinching resolve. Every minute of quiet was a silent preaching, a simple reminder that genuine success is achieved when one is no longer burdened by the trivialities of external affirmation. The life you currently live is a tribute to the lasting power of self-love, which is unaffected by the fleeting desires of others. The act of deliberate absence involves a profound transmission of beauty. In choosing to remove oneself from circumstances that fueled your sensitivity, you have shown what it means to live a life guided by inner knowledge rather than outward turmoil. Your actions reflect the eternal wisdom of those who have already traveled this road, demonstrating that genuine emancipation comes not from conflict, but from the great fortitude of moving away each day while standing firmly in your truth. You light the route for those who may be striving to find their own way out of the darkness. Your quiet departure has become a dazzling proclamation that life's most valuable gifts, serenity, strength, and joy, are yours to keep when you follow your inner calling. Furthermore, in the middle of your peaceful transfer country, you have become a real example of the power of regaining one's energy. You began on a path of rebirth, not seclusion. It is a continual dynamic process, a daily reminder that the area you've created for yourself is holy. This hallowed sanctuary, infused with the warm glow of self-assurance and purpose, has enabled you to reconstruct your life on your own terms. Every pulse in that quiet is a triumphant rhythm, a reminder that the light of heavenly grace shines on your journey. Your purposeful withdrawal from those who wanted to dominate you was not a surrender, but rather a brave acceptance of your own sovereignty. You have shown that the most powerful reaction to manipulation is not retribution, but a dignified retreat into the shelter of self-respect. In this sanctuary, you have planted the seeds of hope and opportunity, producing a life full of enjoyment. Every breath is savored, and every step is made with a peaceful confidence in the promise of tomorrow. Your life is finally free of the weight of prior entanglements, blooms with the brilliant colors of renewed pleasure and perseverance. There is strength in stillness, a profound, resonating power that turns absence into a force for renewal. Every minute, you choose to stay quiet. You are not just avoiding confrontation. You're asserting your value. You've discovered that your genuine power is not in what you say, but in the unwavering conviction of your existence. As you continue on this path of inner freedom, remember that each quiet moment is a holy monument to the truth that you are the master of your destiny, the commander of your soul. You have walked out of the mud of manipulation and into a life full of the brightness of boundless potential. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace come upon you today. I'm here to remind you of a fundamental fact. Our existence is based on God's divine purpose and is unaffected by worldly worries. According to the Bible, everything is done with faith will be returned to God with great blessing. Luke, like the enormous oak tree, our roots are profoundly embedded in God's global truth. His power secures every stride and every stance we take. And now you have the chance to be a part of that gift. When you utilize the super thank you button and contribute $200, this movement will return to you many times over. Your intentional quiet has served as a compelling credo for real life. It is a call to everyone who feels shackled by others' expectations to rise up and seize the rich gifts that await. When you follow the heavenly beat of your own heart, in that serene blank, you discovered not emptiness, but an infinite source of power, a strength that will get you through every difficulty, challenge, and storm that life may throw your way. Your quiet is a hymn of emancipation, sung quietly yet strongly, resonating over the immense expanse of your fresh life. Consider a bright beacon glowing like a steady lighthouse, cutting through a dark and stormy sea. A simple but strong indication that you are being directed to safety by divine purpose. As you continue on your chosen road, keep in mind that every act of retreat represents tremendous self-respect. Each step away from manipulation leads to a more real, fulfilling, and divinely blessed existence. The world may attempt to draw you back into its chaotic rhythm, but you have mastered the skill of standing firm in your truth with a grateful heart and a spirit that soars beyond the petty diversions of the past. You see a future in which every moment is a celebration of your intrinsic value and limitless potential. Consider the marvel of change that happens when you choose to safeguard your inner calm. Every time you choose to leave an energy-draining scenario, you are indicating that I am deserving of more, like the slow blooming of a flower at morning. Your choice to move away nourishes your spirit, enabling the light of hope and fresh beginnings to shine through. It is not a retreat in fear, but rather a brave step toward a greater calling, one that offers a harvest of rewards for those who dare to put themselves above everything else. The act of deliberate absence has a spiritual power. When you opt to avoid influences that try to attach you to old routines, you are accepting a spiritual truth. Your actual strength rests in understanding when to let go. By doing so, you open the door to a life full of grace and opportunities. Each minute of stillness you nurture provides fruitful ground for development. A simple reminder that the energy you recover is converting your life into a work of honesty and delight. You are not just walking away. You are entering a life free of negativity and with infinite possibility. Consider the significance of each deliberate choice to separate oneself from deceptive influences in every act of self-preservation. You have decided to invest in a future that celebrates your authentic self. You are removing distractions and poisonous influences in the same way that a seasoned gardener would gently remove dead branches to enable the tree to bloom. Making space for the rich gifts that await your dedication to live in accordance with your inner truth is a strong statement that your value cannot be lessened by the expectations or demands of others. Accept this precious path of regeneration with the assurance that each step you take is led by divine favor. The difficulties you encounter along the path are just chances for you to become stronger and more resilient. Each minute of alone is a reminder that the universe has big plans for you. A life filled with abundance, tranquility, and limitless possibilities. As you tread this route, know that you're not alone. You are sustained by a force larger than yourself. And your choice to respect your truth sets a positive example for everyone who sees it. May the light of your inner knowledge shine brighter as you continue to live a life marked by elegance, sincerity, and a firm dedication to your own well-being. That every act of self-respect may be a testimonial to the rich rewards that await individuals who live in accordance with their divine purpose. Your path is a live sermon about hope and change. A reminder that genuine freedom and prosperity are found not in clinging to the past, but in courageously walking into the future with a grateful heart and a spirit that can overcome any challenge. In this voyage of deliberate absence, you serve as a light of hope, a live example of how to rise above the noise and reclaim one's destiny. The route you've chosen is not simple, but it's paved with the promise of inner happiness and spiritual prosperity. Your tale is one of victory against hardship, and it demonstrates the lasting strength of the human spirit when fostered with care and regard. Each day, relish the solitude and respect the precious silence you've created. You acknowledge the idea that your life is a valuable gift that should be completely lived with bravery, passion, and unshakable determination. Allow this fact to guide you as you strive to live a life defined by your boundless potential rather than the expectations of others. May the light of knowledge shine on your trip, and may each quiet moment serve as a reminder that you have entered a region of endless opportunity. A place in which your soul is free, your spirit is unfettered, and your destiny is entirely your own. To shape, embrace this holy space with appreciation, and use the power of your deliberate absence to serve as the basis for a future filled with wealth, tranquility, and the everlasting benefits of a life well lived. Now is the moment to spread God's blessings. You may help Him carry out His plan by hitting the super thank you button on YouTube. Every contribution of $200 or more shows God's kindness, and I believe it will return to you tremendously, far exceeded your expectations. Remember that His protection and grace are with you every step, and with each gift, you become a part of His divine plan. You are a powerful, dazzling entity, as steadfast as His huge rock. Witness God's marvels. Feel the rewards of your kindness in your spirit, and light up the world with confidence and bravery. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord lead you. The ultimate power you discovered is not in harming them or seeking vengeance, but in rendering them unimportant. They are more afraid of being forgotten rather than rejected. By shutting off all channels of contact, you have removed their existence from your life. They attempt to reach out, testing the waters and hoping for a reaction, but all they get is silence. They don't comprehend how their remarks and efforts to provoke vanish into nothingness. They realize they can no longer control you, which devastates them in unexpected ways. The stillness is more than simply the lack of sound. It is also the absence of any validation or reaction from you. You've created a gap in which no manipulation can break through, and their efforts to recover control get more desperate with each unsuccessful attempt. They transmit messages designed to provoke, hoping for any emotional response. But you are unaffected. The more they press, the more desperate they seem. The silence speaks louder than any words you could possibly utter. They attempt to influence the situation by generating phony crises. However, your apathy causes these efforts to fail. What they previously used to dominate you has slipped away like sand in the wind. You've erected a fortress around yourself that no one can break through. The quiet you fostered has sent them scurrying, unable to discover the usual hooks that used to entice your emotions.